everyone, and welcome to episode number 9 of the Nord and Block podcast. It is Saturday, March 17th. Happy St. Patrick's Day, LeBlanc. St. Patty's Day.
St. Patty's Day. It is Sunday, though.
Yeah, it's a boring Sunday. It was Friday last year. Did you drink your Irish beer?
I was at work all day, so no.
Oh, boring.
I drank my Irish beer on the Friday, so...
Yeah, that makes sense. I am Nordic here, joined with LeBlanc. We're doing pretty well. It's a fun episode here today. We are going to talk about some eliminated teams, some arena news, and a lot of other stuff, including our 2.0 mock draft. So it should be a very fun episode here for you guys today. So we're going to roll into the eliminated teams. So 3 teams got eliminated from the playoffs this past week, and I think it's worth talking about them. We'll start off with the Chicago Blackhawks, who were eliminated about a week ago. They obviously are the worst team in the NHL. LeBlanc, your thoughts on Chicago being eliminated? Should not surprise you.
Slacking for Macklin. I mean, there's not really, you can't really say, oh, we're disappointed. We kind of expected them to be where they are. There's not much talent around the team right now. They're basically in year 2 of this rebuild, in the full rebuild. So,
yeah.
I would say that Chicago, where you expected them to be bad, they were bad. Hopefully they can get a good draft pick to load up.
Yeah, essentially. I mean, there were people that actually said that, Chicago was going to make the playoffs, Connor Bedard was going to carry them to the playoffs. Just, I don't understand how you think that is right. Even with McDavid, he still can't carry a team.
Mm-hmm.
The other team that was eliminated was the San Jose Sharks. The Sharks are obviously, actually, they are last in the NHL. The Blackhawks are currently ahead of them, but the Blackhawks were last when they were eliminated. So, LeBlanc, your thoughts on San Jose?
They bad. The funny thing is, though, they actually played tonight. San Jose had a 2-0 lead, and they blew it against Chicago. So that's why they are currently in last in the NHL. But San Jose, very young team, either full of young players or just veterans who are way past their expiration date.
Essentially, yeah. And I mean, they traded a lot of their guys at the trade deadline, so it makes sense that everything's kind of dried up now. Their leading scorer has 9 goals. That's actually pretty depressing. When you look at that. So yeah. Definitely. If there were any team that I thought deserves Celebrini, or I actually want to get Celebrini, I think it'd be San Jose. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I don't want to see Chicago get it again. I just can't put myself through Macklin and Bedard.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I was not into hockey when the Kane Taves era was going on. But I don't want to see another era of Chicago Blackhawks hockey. Not that quickly, at least.
Let me just run you through the Canes Taves era. It was really annoying. It was really, Chicago was so good, and they won it every other year. So it was just really, really, especially if you were a central team, it was really, really annoying. Oh, but sure. Going back to Celebrini, San Jose has never had a first overall pick. I don't think so. I made you correct me on that, but I don't think they've ever had a first overall pick. So I think them getting their first overall pick in their worst year, potentially in franchise history, I think that's perfect for them.
I don't believe they have. I'm looking it up right now. I'm pretty sure they don't. They do not. They have never had a first-round pick in the history of their franchise. If I am correct, I'm looking at all the drafts year by year. No, they have not. So I think it'd be pretty nice to see. They've had plenty of second overall picks. But never a first overall pick. So I think San Jose definitely deserves to be there. The other team that was eliminated was the Anaheim Ducks. They are currently 30th in the NHL. LeBlanc, your thoughts on the Ducks?
Honestly, I thought Anaheim was going to be a little bit better this year. I thought Anaheim was looking to take, not a step to playoffs, but a step to, being competitive in the West. And they didn't really do that. Of course, they were injured down the stretch. Zegras really had a tough year. I don't want to point fingers at Zegras, but Terry kind of slowed down. Vetrano had a really good year. Dostal really broke out. I would say for the Ducks, it's just another stepping stone in the rebuild, and hopefully next year it's the year they take the next step. Obviously, Greg Cronin coming in as the new head coach takes time to get adjusted to that system and build that chemistry. But I think the Ducks. I think you don't call it a success, but you don't call it a failure either. You call it it's another step in the right direction.
I think this has to be the last year of them being this bad. I still think they won't make the playoffs next year, but I think they'll start making improvements to be a team that comes much closer and is eliminated a lot later than this. Well, it's not really early in the season, but at this point in the season. I think they're building a really good forward core. I think the defense is going to be good as well. I'm a little bit worried about the goaltending because I feel like by the time they're good, Gibson's going to have fallen out of his prime, and it's just like no point. It's really unfortunate, but I feel like that might be what happens. But
yeah, I mean Gibson's a good goalie, but right now, like you said, when they get to the contention point, Gibson's going to be in his mid-30s. So Gibson's he's been in trade rumors for the past 4 seasons.
Yeah, he's been. I think it's like a yearly video that I make on my YouTube channel or my TikTok. That's just like Gibson. Can Gibson get traded? It's just I don't even believe it anymore. And honestly, I think at this point you should just move him. Even if you don't get a lot for him, just move him because you're really screwing yourself. And I think Lucas Dostal's going to be a good goalie.
Dostal's ready.
At the same time. Yeah. So, this Ducks team, overall, a lot of young players. Next year when Cutter Gauthier comes over and some of those other guys get established, I think that this team could be really fun to watch. That is all in regards to eliminated playoff teams. Let's get into some news here. The Calgary Flames have signed Hunter Brushevich to a 3-year entry-level contract. Very solid defenseman, was really hyped up. Matt Rempe was suspended 4 games earlier this week for a elbow to the Devils defender Jonas Siegenthaler. So, LeBlanc, what are your thoughts on this Siegenthaler hit? Have you seen it?
I have seen the hit, and you can clearly see Rempe does extend his elbow out, and I think it was 4 games, correct?
It was.
I honestly think the 4 games are for more than just the elbow there. I think it's for everything accumulated into that.
Do you think that with this 4-game suspension, the NHL is trying to send a message to Matt Rempe for the way he's been playing?
Yes. There's no doubt in my mind that, yes, Rempe is a fan favorite. He fights, but he also plays with that edge, but the edge is way, way, way razor sharp. So when you play with that edge, you need to be grounded and you need to know when to make it, when to step up and when to not. And Matt Rempe crosses that every time. You see the hit on Liljegren in Toronto where he left his feet. You see the hit on Siegenthaler. You see the hit on not Smith. It's another Devils player I'm forgetting, but basically Rempe's had a questionable hit almost every time he goes on the ice.
Or he got into a fight, one of the two.
Yes.
I enjoy the way that he's playing. However, there is a line that you gotta draw at some point because eventually you're just gonna be hurting yourself. This guy, we see reports that NHL enforcers die earlier than other NHL, and that's not to say that not to go into that, but it's still not ideal. And I think the NHL is trying to do this to not only discipline him, but to tell him, yeah, you can't be going out like this every single game. And I get it. He's making a name for himself. He might not be a player who scores a ton, who does a whole lot offensively or anything like that. He's just trying to be physical and keep himself in the lineup. But at the same time, you're going to be hurting yourself eventually. So it's kind of how I view it. The Arizona Coyotes, and this is all the news that I have because there really hasn't been a lot of news. The Coyotes are to compete in auction for land in new area north of Phoenix. So let's read this a little bit here. In what seems like a last chance ever for the Yotes ownership group, led by Alex Morello, the team has submitted an application to participate in an auction for land in Northeast Phoenix to build their permanent area. The application was approved today by the Arizona State Land Department. If the franchise wins the auction, it's expected the team will run a Mullet Arena until the 2026-2027 season while the arena is getting built. Important to note that the team will not need a public vote to build the arena, which is clearly the goal after the failed Tempe vote last year. So, LeBlanc, What are your thoughts on the Coyotes making a last-ditch effort to get an arena here?
Just get an arena. Like, if you want to stay in Phoenix, just get an arena. North Phoenix is also a very. I've heard. I've never been to Arizona, but I've heard North Phoenix is actually one of the nicer areas in the Arizona area. They're very safe. It seems like it's an ideal location for the arena. So, I mean, if you can get an arena and use your money, not public funded, to build said arena, then I think the Coyotes have the right to do that.
I kind of feel like, yeah, the public vote's really going to help out because you saw in Tempe that like they did not put in any effort into that whatsoever. But the fact that they're in Mullet Arena until the 2026-2027 season, that is what? 1, 2, 3, 4. That's like 5 years in a college arena. That's like actually insane when you think about it. So, yeah, that's all the news I got. The Coyotes news is pretty wild. We'll see how that develops. I feel like we talk about that in a lot of the videos. But regardless, that's pretty much all that's happened. So, yeah. I do have a question here for you, LeBlanc. And with it being St. Patrick's Day, this was something that I thought about. What is your favorite game theme to go to? For example, what I'm trying to say there is like, oh, what is your favorite like theme? Star Wars night, Marvel night, St. Patrick's Day, or something else? Like, what is your favorite game theme? Because I know you're a season ticket holder. What is your favorite?
I love Country Night. I think Country Night is awesome.
Ooh.
Like Country Night, you know, everybody's rowdy on Country Night because you get I know Ottawa, you get all the fans from the Valley to come down as well because every Country Night is always sold out. So it's very fun. The vibes are up. I also like I always do this every year. Me and my brother, we go to the game every year right before Christmas. So usually they have a game on the 22nd or 23rd that we'll go down and see the team. And, it's a little, precursor to, like, the holiday. So I do like going down for the Christmas game or the holiday game. St. Patrick's Day, I haven't been to a St. Patrick's Day game in a while, I'll be honest. My 2 packages the past 2 years, I have not had the game, but I've heard it's a fun time.
Yeah, my favorite personally, Star Wars night. I really enjoy Star Wars night. I love the presentation they put on in Philadelphia. Now, I know every single arena is different, but my favorite has to be Star Wars night. I also really enjoyed St. Patrick's Day night. That's where I met Bryce Kay about a year ago, actually. Very fun night, very fun atmosphere. Even though I can't drink the Irish beer, it's still pretty great. And everything's green, which is pretty cool for the Flyers. I've also been to Marvel night, too. I went to Marvel night where I met Bartner. I thought that was pretty cool, but I've never been in the Marvel, so like I just like it's cool, but like at the same time you're just like not really. And I would love to go to a Christmas game or even like a kids night. I think would be pretty cool too. For those who don't know, LeBlanc was actually trying to find Santa on the arena for this year's Christmas night. That was pretty entertaining. The video's up on his TikTok if you were curious. But yeah, that was quite an experience for him, I must say, especially watching that too.
Yeah, but I think Star Wars night though, like you said, like I know for us they make their own custom logos for the teams on the screen, and then actually another night we went to this year, we went to retro night, like kind of like 80s night. That was really fun. On the jumbotron when they announce like a player scoring a goal or an assist, they'll have like a retro outfit, or for the country night they have like their own like custom names. Like, one of them was like Mustang, Vladdy Tarasenko, something like that.
Yeah, I think that would be a pretty cool theme too. Retro night. I haven't thought about that. I believe the Flyers do that, but no idea. It's okay if you don't know one, but what is a theme night that you think would be a good idea for either the Senators or any NHL team to do?
I think I like it when teams go back and honor their history, or like have like appreciation nights. Like, I know every year in Ottawa they have the Veterans Night, which I think is really good cause. But a theme night that I would consider going like a good one. I'm trying to think. That's actually so difficult to figure out.
It's a good question because I'm trying to think about. I've been thinking about it too, like all day when I was writing up the script for this podcast.
Like
'Cause-
kids' night. I know we don't have kids' night, but I know other teams do.
Yeah, I think the Flyers do. I know our friend Trevor has a kids' night with his.
Yeah, I know the Red Wings have a kids' night.
Yeah, and the Red Wings. So
Mhm.
I don't know. It's like one of those questions where like you have to find out like what teams don't do, because there's a lot of different themes that some teams do, some teams don't do, and it's just
Yeah.
like it's a good question because like I feel like a lot of the good teams kind of already do that.
Yeah.
I know I've been to a lot of minor league games. Like I've been to a lot of ECHL.
Yes, I know. The 67s we had the office night. That was fun.
Yeah, they do a lot of different
Mm.
themes. I remember, like, pretty much every single game I've been to, they've done different themes. They did the Team USA night, the first game I went to for the Reading Royals. They did a Flyers theme night. I'm trying to think. They do like a superhero night. They even do like a day where it's like there's a game at like 10:30 in the morning, and they'll bring in schools from the local areas to come in and watch the game. I think that's pretty cool too.
Yeah,
but
I know.
NHL will never do that, but I'd say that's like a cool.
I know
minor.
when I was in grade 7, 8, they bust us out to the 67s games, like a game and like 12 on like a Wednesday, and it was like all the schools came down to watch the games. So I mean, that was pretty cool. I also think I know we had Red Black night, which is Red Black is the football team, so they have all the players come out for warm up in like red black jerseys, and it's a good community thing. I like when the teams go back to their roots and go back to like the community they support.
Yeah, I always like that too. So yeah, overall, themes I think are very fun. They're a very good addition to games, and yeah. So we're gonna move into our mock draft now. We're gonna convert over to Zoom, so we'll be right back to do our joint mock draft 2.0.
Bop! Welcome to the mock draft. Now, me and Evan have done a mock draft before. We only did the top 10. This time, we thought we were going to add 6 more picks. Might as well do the whole lottery.
Yeah, why not?
And basically what I did is I simmed the lottery 25 times because I'm a madman. And, I thought let's mix it up, because last time we simmed it once and Arizona won, to Evan's happy surprise, but he said it 25 times, and the Sharks got first pick, and the Ducks leapfrog the Hawks for pick number 2. And the rest of these are sorted by points percentage. So, yes, I know the Red Wings are in a playoff spot right now, but point percentage-wise, they wouldn't be in that playoff spot.
Yeah, indeed. Thank you, overtime lost points.
So we're going to start out. I know Evan went first last time, but the Sens are picking 6th and the Oilers are picking 5th, so might as well just go with the odds there, the odds and evens. So, Evan, you get to go first once again.
Okay, so with my 16th overall pick, I looked at some of my rosters, and obviously we did. I don't know the last time we did our last mock draft. I think it was.
We did it about 2 months ago.
Yeah, so January. So a little bit has changed. Oh, we're going from 1 to 16. I thought we were going from 16 to 1. My apologies. So number 1, I thought we were going 16 to 1. So like that's why I was like saying this might change a little bit. No, number 1 is Macklin Celebrini. I think it should be pretty obvious choice there. Celebrini tearing it up with Boston University, has 55 points in 33 games played, doing really well for himself. And I think that the expectation is going to be that he could potentially win himself a Hobey Baker. So we'll see there if Celebrini can do that. But yeah, that has not changed. I'm sorry. I thought we were doing 16 to 1. That's why I was like, oh, this might have changed a little bit. No, it has not changed. That would have been funny. That would have been funny if I had no idea and I was like, "Oh, I'm going with Trevor Connolly at first overall." Yeah, no, that would not have boded well. So, yeah, Macklin Celebrini first overall.
All right, I have the Ducks, and last time we did this, I think I picked Demidov, and guess who's going number 2 again? Demidov. Yeah. I don't see this guy slipping out of this spot unless Anaheim really wants a defenseman. And I mean, like, really wants a defenseman.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think there's a good chance that Demidov actually does drop to 3, because Anaheim might look at their really stacked prospect core and say, yeah, maybe we should go with a defenseman, but I think Demidov's a really smart choice. I think he's a really good Russian forward. Tearing it up with St. Petersburg right now, 60
That's
points,
three plays where. Thank
100
you.
games. So, yeah, he's doing really good for himself. But yeah, Demidov, right choice there at second overall. I'll let LeBlanc type that real quick. Third overall, I think, again, should be a pretty obvious choice. Chicago obviously drafted a really solid forward last year. I think they go with Caden Lindstrom. I kind of think they go with a guy like Caden Lindstrom from Medicine Hat.
I like that pick.
Is doing pretty good for himself, 46 points in 32 games played. He is a forward. I'm not sure what his actual position is because that doesn't.
He plays everywhere. Like I don't know if he's a center, but I think he's my main word. He's center. I'm going to put him at the center.
Yeah, so he plays center. That means that you could either have a really good 1-2 punch or a dynamic duo there with Bedard and Lindstrom. I kind of think that when I look at that, I feel like that power play of Lindstrom and Bedard could be nasty. So definitely, with Chicago's already really bad power play, I feel like that adding Lindstrom to that with Bedard, I think could really help them out. All right, LeBlanc, you're up for 4.
Ooh, this one. Now, I'm thinking of needs for the Jackets, and I think the Jackets don't really need any more D prospects in the system. Because I would go Levshinov here, but I honestly think I'm going to go a little bit off the board. And, you know what? Actually, he's the best player available, and I'm going to take Levshinov.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. I understand that when you look at that overall, I do kind of feel that Chicago or Columbus does have a lot of defensive prospects, but why not stack it up more with a guy like Levshinov? I think that a Russian playing in Michigan State, 32 points in 35 games played, could be a really solid pick for Chicago or Columbus. Sorry.
Columbus, yeah.
Adding him to Juracek, Matejchuk, I think that's the big name guys. I think that would be a really solid defensive core that I think that with Columbus, they've struggled with defense in the last couple of years. I feel
and you see they put in placeholders there and to bring for the guys to come up. And I think Evan has heard me just praise Levshinov all year.
I have.
I think he could go as high as 2. I think he is the best defenseman in this draft by far. And I think he's either a year away or he's NHL ready right now.
He really could. And as we said, like if Anaheim does get that second overall pick, Levshinov's a player who, if they see him, a really solid offensive and defensive defenseman, could be a player that really does get picked there.
And I want to say that Anaheim did just lose Drysdale, so replacement for Drysdale could be there on the horizon.
So yeah, I don't believe. I'm just gonna look up one more thing here real quick. I don't believe Levshinov is. It doesn't. It's he is a right-handed defenseman.
Yes.
Drysdale was a left-handed defenseman.
Drysdale's right-handed as well.
Oh, okay. So right-handed defensemen are really hard to come by.
Exactly. So
there is a really good chance that Levshinov gets picked up again by the Ducks.
Mm-hmm.
There's a really good chance because again, as you said, really solid offensive core, a lot of really solid star forwards. It's very possible. But regardless, he's at number 4. So just we're not we got a little bit too ahead of ourselves there.
Yes.
Number 5, Arizona Coyotes. Well, there's a lot of reasons why I'm going to pick Sam Dickinson at number 5 in this draft. Sam Dickinson, 67 points, 65 games played with the London Knights. There's a few reasons for this. The first reason is that he has the same last name as me. And having someone with the last name as me on one of my favorite teams would be awesome. Just being honest. But as well as that, too, I think Sam Dickinson's a really solid offensive defenseman with a lot of upside. His defensive game needs a little bit of work, but I think that definitely he's a player for Arizona, who doesn't have a lot of defense, is a guy that I really think could get picked up by Arizona. I think it's a really good pick there for the Coyotes.
Dickinson is very good. He had a decent pre-draft year, and this year he's just exploded. Offensively, he's a very gifted. He kind of reminds me a little bit of early Erik Karlsson when he actually played some defense. But yeah, Sam Dickinson is probably I always said Leshevinov's probably the best defenseman, but Sam Dickinson's the most NHL ready defenseman in this draft.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think for a team like Arizona who's trying to get back in the playoffs, you pick Sam Dickinson at number 5 there. Number 6, LeBlanc's favorite team.
Yes. Now, Ottawa, I think Ottawa right here is probably licking their chops because there's a guy here who they really do like, and he's a right-handed defenseman by the name of Zane Parik from Saginaw.
Really high pick there, but I like it.
And you might say it's a reach, but I think Ottawa right here, they haven't had a good right-hand defenseman since Erik Karlsson left.
I agree. They really haven't, to be honest with you.
I'm pretty sure he plays for Saginaw. If
he,
yeah.
He does.
Yeah. So he's good defensively. He's really good offensively. But the defensive game is up to par with NHL standards, and you develop that more. I think you're going to get a really good right-hand defenseman. Him and Jake Sanderson as a future pairing, that just screams competent defense. That screams what every Ottawa fan wants: competent defense.
Yeah, I think that Ottawa definitely needs a defenseman. I think that the forward core it's definitely good enough, in my opinion, but I definitely think you would want a defenseman, and I think a guy like Parik could really help out with Ottawa. Number 7 to the Montreal Canadiens. I think it's about time you pick him. I think you pick Cole Eiserman. I think you go with him. I know Eiserman might be a way too low here in your guys' opinion, but I really do think that Eiserman has some issues he needs to figure out for sure. His skating's definitely a factor. There may be some attitude issues there too. But 73 points in 45 games played with Boston University is a guy who has more goals than he does a points per game pace, which is awesome to see. But there are some notable factors that need to get worked on there if you're Cole Eiserman. And I definitely think that he will solve those, but I think going to a team like Montreal is going to help him out for sure. And Montreal sports.
Cole and Cole?
How about it? That's a good idea. I wasn't even thinking about that.
Yeah, Cole and Cole. I mean, I think Eiserman gives the Habs, you could argue that he gives the Habs what Caulfield is right now, but at a higher ceiling.
I would agree with that.
He does have some things to figure out. There's rumors about him having character issues, attitude problems, not being a team player. I mean, his skating is not that great either. Yeah, he has a lot of things to work on, like we've said. But I think him at 7, I think that's a really good pick for Montreal.
Yeah, I agree. I think Eiserman's the right pick there to go for the Canadiens. Number 8, the Devils.
Ooh, number 8 to the Devils.
They pick a goalie.
I wish there was a high touted goalie here because he would definitely go to New Jersey right here. Since you passed on him, I am actually going to go with. Where is he? I just saw him on my list. Where'd he go? Berkeley Cadden.
Ooh, interesting.
Like Lindstrom, he's a forward. He plays everywhere, so it's not. We don't know where he is in the NHL. I assume he projects as a center at the NHL level, but he is basically the all-around package for the New Jersey Devils. You're getting another center, which you could say New Jersey has enough centers, but with Dawson Mercer not really meeting expectations this year, you can argue that he could be a good second line center. You can put him on the wing on that second line come the future down the stretch. I think he's the best player available at this spot. He's having a pretty good year for Spokane in the Western Hockey League.
Yeah, I agree. I think Can's a good pick there for sure. There may be some debates that go with a defenseman maybe here, but I think that definitely their defense is stacked enough. And even though like there's been some concerns with that, I do think that like it's good enough. But Can adding that to him, I think I agree with Mercer's a good pick there too. 111 points in 65 games played, so could be a dangerous player there for the Devils if they get him and add him to another really solid core with, as we said, like Hughes, Heischer, really solid players. I think that Can could do really solid. Number
I say, you know who's fuming at that pick above them? Buffalo.
Oh, for sure. Number 9, Buffalo Sabres. Sabres definitely wanted a guy like Berkeley Cadden, but that's okay. I think they go with a defenseman here, and I got a player. Perfect. It's a really defensive draft this year. I think you go with Anton Siliev.
I love it. I love it.
Someone who's really dropped on our rankings for sure. But regardless, is a very solid defenseman. For Torpedo has 11 points in 63 games played. That screams defensive to you. That screams defensive. A guy who doesn't get a whole lot of points screams defensive. And this is something that Buffalo absolutely needs. You acquire Bowen Byram, you get Rasmus Dahlin, you get Owen Power. Add Silyev to that. Oh, my Lord.
Silyev's a big boy. He's a big boy, too. He's 6'7".
6'7".
6'8" on skates.
Yes, that will make an amazing defensive core. Bowen Byram, Rasmus Dahlin, Owen Power, and Anton Silyev is the defense of the future for the Sabres. Add that to an already really good forward core and a developing goalie in Devin Levi. Man, Buffalo could be a playoff team next year if they get Silyev and he comes over.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, man.
Buffalo already has one of the best prospect pools in the league, and you add Silyev, who honestly in this one he fell at ours. So
he did 100%. He's a much better defenseman than what we're profiling him to be here, going to 9. But definitely would be awesome for the Buffalo Sabres if they got him.
Hang on, I accidentally deleted this.
Darn it!
I was so mad you made a good pick. I think it's still Ayev. Yeah, still Ayev. Torpedo. Right. A team we're not used to seeing in this spot.
Yeah, this is like very unusual when you look at just overall. Very unusual. Pittsburgh Penguins.
Pittsburgh just needs young players. Like, I think Pittsburgh would go just best player available here. But I look at this and I think there's a couple players I want to replace here. I just traded away Jake Gensel. So, honestly, I think right here, I'm going to go with TJ Ginla.
Ooh, Jerome McGinley. His son, by the way.
That's his son.
He's actually risen up. I believe he was much lower. I don't even think he was in our top 10.
He was in, so on my page, my original mock draft, my original mock draft, I had him at 10, and then he dropped, and now he's coming back up. There's a couple guys that could have taken over him, but I think he plays just like his dad. Like, he's not, I don't want to say he's a carbon copy of his dad because he's definitely has his own game, but he plays very similar to Jerome. He plays.
Makes a lot of sense. I mean, you want to be like your dad, obviously, when you're a son. So it makes a lot of sense. But yeah, if he's anything like his dad, could be a great pick there for Pittsburgh. But yeah, I really like that pick. I think Pittsburgh, honestly, with the Jake Gensel deal and drafting a few guys in previous years, like Jaeger and a few other players, I think that Pittsburgh's building up not that bad of a pool, in my opinion. And I think that with some of these guys come over, they could be some pretty exciting players for this future. But obviously, we shall see. As I let LeBlanc type that, I'll go into number 11.
Kelowna. All right, there we go. All right, Seattle.
We got Seattle. I honestly don't really know with Seattle. I feel like they could go with a forward or a defenseman. It really kind of depends. I feel like they kind of go with best player available, in my opinion. I don't know how you feel, LeBlanc. I think the best player available to that point is probably Consta
Yes.
from Jokerit, 36 points in 51 games played. Um, that is actually really good numbers playing in the Finnish Elite League. So a very good pick there. If Seattle could get him, add to Matty Beniers making a really solid, good 1-2 punch there. So I think Seattle overall they've been in the race for the playoffs, but you can tell that like they're just not going to make it, and they need some more high scoring, highly touted players. And Conta might be their pick there at number 11. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Lennius. I don't know if I think I'm saying it right. Apologies if I'm not.
Correct. I think that's how you spell it.
That is how you spell it.
All right. Yeah, I think Constant Hellenius here is a big steal for the Kraken. I could have taken him at 8. I could have taken him at 10. You could have had him at 9 to Buffalo because I think but when Anton Sillia's there, you don't pass on that. But Hellenius could arguably go in the top 7.
Yeah. So it'd be a really good pick there for Seattle if they could get him at number 11.
Yeah,
Number
I
12,
find.
Calgary.
Yeah, Calgary. Now Calgary, after missing out on your boy Tej Ginla, I think Calgary, though, there's a very good prospect here that I think he is the sleeper of the draft, and he plays locally for the Calgary Hitmen, and his name is Carter Yakimchuk.
Ooh, that's a good pick there too. I like that.
Yeah. Literally, the dude is all offense all the time. This dude, like, I want to compare him. I think him and Zane Perrick are almost on the same level. Their games are super similar. I think Yakimchuk has more offensive upside than Zane Perrick. Defensively, there's still a little bit of work to be done, but it's fine tuning his game. But Carter Yakimchuk is going to be, I think he's going to be a stud in this league. I'm excited for him. I'll just say that.
I agree. I'm really high on Yakimchuk as well. I think it's a really solid pick. He's a player that I view as, and he's a local guy too, playing in the WHL. He could be one of the next best defensemen for Calgary, 100%. Especially since they just lost Noah Hannafin. I think that's a really good pick for them.
Mm-hmm.
Number 13, Detroit Red Wings. The Red Wings are getting into the point where you're getting into some of the teams that are closer to the playoff race and closer to the playoffs now at this point. Detroit, I think that even if they miss the playoffs and they finish in this spot somehow, I think that definitely they're going to be in it next year. I think they go with a guy like Liam Greentree from.
I was actually thinking the same thing.
What's pretty funny is that our friend Trevor, he does work for the Windsor Spitfires, and he is very high on Greentree. Now, there are some things I want to talk about. Greentree apparently does have some character issues in the locker room that might be a factor in why he drops. But I think a guy like Greentree could be a good pick for Detroit. Another solid offensive player. Maybe go with a defenseman there, but I feel like they would go with Greentree. He has 85 points in 60 games played with Windsor, so I think he's a very good pick there, playing on a really bad team of Windsor. So, yeah, Liam Greentree.
Greentree, also, when you go into Detroit, you get humbled immediately. I just want to put that out there. So maybe getting humbled immediately is a good thing for Liam Greentree here. But I think Detroit takes the best. I don't think he's the best player available. I think he's the best forward right now available.
Yeah, I agree with that too. I think that Greentree is a really solid pick there. Minnesota.
Minnesota. Now we're getting into the nitty gritty here. Where Minnesota? What does Minnesota need? I think Minnesota has done a really good job drafting the past couple years. And honestly, when you look at Minnesota's defense, they don't really have an offensive guy. They need kind of like an offensive upside guy. And honestly, I think I'm gonna go off the board here.
Ooh.
I am gonna go with Cole Hudson.
Ooh, Lane Hudson's brother. So he's going a little bit way off the board here. Yeah, I like Cole Hudson a lot. I definitely think he's a player who Um, he isn't Lane Hudson, but I feel like he's definitely going to be still a really solid player. And I think for Minnesota too, you add him to Brock Faber, you add him to a few other guys on that blue line. It could be exciting in the next couple of years to see Cole Hudson play. And I honestly think that too. Minnesota's been building up this really solid prospect pool quietly. Like they
Mm-hmm.
got guys like Brock Faber, Marco Rossi. They got some really good players down the stretch here. Adding that on to Kaprizov, man, once this team stops paying Zach Parise and Ryan Sutter, they'll be
They could take off. Like,
yeah, they
oh,
honestly really could.
and Cole Hudson, and I want to say this with not disrespect. He's not Lane, but he's pretty damn close.
He's pretty damn good. That's
And he is undersized, but I think when you see Lane Hudson lighting it up in the at Boston U, where Cole Hudson is committed to go to, I think it can translate. I don't know, I might sound like a hypocrite here, but I've always said a small forward can make it. A small defenseman needs to grind. They need to grind to get into the NHL. It's very hard for a smaller defenseman to make the league.
absolutely. I
But
100%
I
agree with that.
but I think with the game evolving and you see the smaller defenseman now thriving, I think Cole Hudson right here, the pick. It's boomer bust though. It's very boomer bust this pick.
Yeah. So, but I think Minnesota, it's a pretty solid pick for them. I like that pick for you, LeBlanc. Number 15, the New York Islanders. This is my
This is your
last
final pick
here.
too.
Yeah, my final pick. I don't know. I feel like you go with like the best player available at that point. I think the Islanders want youth. They want young players. I think they go with Trevor Connolly from Tri City Americans. 63 points in 45 games played. Not a bad name there. I think he can be a really solid player with some good upside. So yeah, Connolly at number 15. For sure though, I think the Islanders need some just youth and young players and prospects. So I think Connolly's a good pick there for them at 15.
Tri City. Yeah, Trevor Connolly's been having a really good year for Tri City. He has some pretty good upside too. I do like his game. I've seen a few. I do watch a few of his games. He honestly actually he says he's right here. He's committed to go to Providence
Ooh.
after this. So I don't know if he's committed to go to Providence in 2025, 26. So he's late birthday, but he's definitely one of the better left wings on the board. Excuse me. 65 points in 46 games, 26 goals. I mean, that screams pretty good pick to me.
Yeah, I agree. I like Connolly there at number 15. And your last pick is St. Louis Blues at 6.
The Blues. This one is kind of tough, but I think I missed a player who honestly maybe should have gone where Hudson went. I'm not gonna lie to you here. Where'd he go? I saw him. It's left-handed defenseman from the University of Denver, Zeev Brunum.
Ooh.
I'd be
Oh man, that's who I was forgetting. I was like thinking, like, am I forgetting someone here? That's who I was forgetting.
Yeah. I think if they get him at 16, that's a steal of the draft. That's the steal of the draft. He had a really good World Juniors.
He did. He played
Like
really, and he was a guy who, when I was watching the World Juniors this year, really stuck out to me.
Mhm.
So he had a really good juniors.
Yeah. And if St. Louis gets that, they need someone to replace the old guard of defense and that they currently have. So Z Brunum right there makes perfect sense to me.
100%. I agree with that.
I do want to give a couple shout outs to guys who honestly could have gone in our mock but didn't. Specifically, Micah Brandseg Nygaard, who I think could go in that top 16. Adam Juracek, but for me, he's coming off of an ACL tear, I'm pretty sure. So that's going to drop your stock. And then,
Yeah.
Michael Hage from Chicago Steel.
Yeah. So some good picks there. This isn't as good of a draft as last year, but I still think that it's going to be a pretty solid draft for a lot of teams here. So yeah, that is our 2.0. The next time we will do one is probably middle of playoffs.
We'll probably do a middle playoffs.
And then we'll do one more final one before the draft. So
we'll probably do one after the lottery.
That's probably what we'll do. So yeah. Stay tuned for that. But regardless, we're going to take it back to Riverside and play some games. So to end off our fun episode here, LeBlanc's got some games for me. I usually do the games, but, we're switching it up today. And LeBlanc's going to give me some games to play. So
Mr. 97. Mr. 97, are you ready to play some games?
Yeah, I'm usually the one that does them on my main podcast and this podcast as well. But I'm ready to go. Let's do it.
All right, we're going to start off with a classic, Wavelength, that I finally understand how to play now.
Finally.
That was a struggle.
The last time, that was rough.
Yes, it was. All right, so I'm thinking of a number. You're going to have 3 guesses.
Wait. Let me put my head down, and you can put it up on the screen.
All right, for sure. All right.
Okay.
Yep.
Go ahead. Good. Oh, I'm freaking stupid. Give me a. I'm so sorry. I'm used to. Yeah. Okay. Anyway.
Yeah.
Give me a. Give me a NHL captain.
Ooh. NHL captain. I'm going to say Brady Tkachuk.
So like a 4 or 5. Yeah, I thought you were gonna flip me off. But anyways, give me a. I get 3 things, right, that I can pick.
Yeah.
Okay. Give me a. Give me an NHL arena.
I'm trying to think. I'm gonna say TD Garden.
Okay, so now we're up to like a 9 or a 10. Give me a Stanley Cup winner in the last 10 years. Based on how good
I'm gonna say the 2017 Pittsburgh Penguins.
Ooh, that's a good freaking team. I don't know. Throw me off here with the Tkachuk pick a little bit. But one of my final guesses. I'm gonna go with number 8. Is number 8 correct?
You were so close. It's number 7.
Ah, darn it! How is TD Garden not a 10 out of 10 arena? Whatever.
I mean, I've been to multiple other arenas, so I didn't want to say like Rogers Place or Climate Pledge. Those are my 2 favorite arenas. I thought they would give it away. So
yeah, I guess that's fair. All right,
Brady Tkachuk's good, but he's not like elite. So
that's why I thought it was like an average pick, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. All right. Anyways, are we doing more wavelength or?
Yes. We can do one more round of wavelength if you want.
All right. I want to get it right, so let's go for another round of wavelength. All right. Wavelength. Round 2. Let's get it.
Head down. All right.
Okay. Give me a NHL Norris Trophy winner over the last 10 years.
Oh.
I might have to pull up the list if you.
I got to pull up the list because now in the last how many years?
10 years.
The last 10 years. Mark Giordano.
Oh man. Really like a 3 or a 4 now. Give me a. Oh my god. Give me a. Oh my lord. Give me an NHL jersey.
A jersey. The Capitals.
Capitals. Their homes. Their homes are pretty mid.
Yes, their homes.
I think it's like a 1. I think it's like a 1, 3 or a 2 now. Give me a. Just give me an overall NHL team. Give me an overall team this year. Not
This year?
overall. It doesn't matter. Overall this year doesn't matter.
Seattle.
Oh, probably like a. All right, my guess. I'm gonna go with a 3. Is it a 3? Was I close again? Oh my god! Again? Are you serious?
One day,
One day.
you'll get it.
One day. I'll get a one day, guys. One day.
All right.
Move on.
We're going to play another game that we played last time. This is called Guess the Play. Sorry, Guess the Player. Excuse me.
Do you want to keep track of this?
I will. I will keep track.
You can do this every single week if you would like.
Yes. I'll keep track, and I'll do this. You know, if you think you've forgotten something and you repeat it back to me, I will let you know instead of you aim with. Like for me, last time I lost track of everything. But so yeah, if you think you've forgotten something, I'll just tell you if you've gotten it or not.
Okay.
All right. You're gonna have. We'll give you 12 questions.
12? Oh boy, I get 6 for Nordcast. This should be easy.
Then we'll sim it down to 9.
Oh, I hate you. All right, fair enough. Is your player in the Western Conference?
He is.
Is your player in the Pacific Division?
He is not.
Okay, so he's in the Central Division. Let me pull up the Central Division teams here. Central. Is your player on a playoff team right now? So it's either okay. So it's St. Louis, Minnesota, Arizona, or Chicago. Was your player on a team that was in the playoffs last year?
Yes.
Fourth question. Okay, so that's Minnesota. We figured out the team. Good to see. All right, let's pull up the Minnesota Wild roster here. Is your player a forward?
He is.
Fifth question. Okay, so we're down to the forward. Man, I'm not used to this many freaking questions. Let me pull up the roster here real quick.
I didn't know you were sweaty at this, so
I'm insane. I'm pretty damn good. Is your player American?
Yes.
Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4. 4! Oh man, I'm down. That was what, my 5th question?
6. So you have three guesses.
All right. Let me look here. So 1, 2. Is your player's number above 50 or below 50?
Below 50.
Okay. So, that's literally every player. I am a freaking idiot. No, just watch me sell this. Is your player a? That was my 7th question. Is your player a left wing?
Stand by.
Stand by.
Stand by. Come on, app. Stand by. We apologize for technical difficulties. He is a left wing.
He is a left wing. Okay, so that narrows it down to 2.
So you have 1 guess left.
I don't get a final guess?
You're at 8. So this is your 9th question.
Okay. Is it Matt Boldy?
It is Matt Boldy.
Yeah! We undefeated. Oh my god, I should do this in Nordcast. I get 6 questions in Nordcast, and it's so damn hard. Oh my god. Yes, sir, Matt Boldy. All right, want to know? Love to see it.
All right, so this next game is actually this is hard. So,
oh Jesus,
here's what's gonna happen. This is called What Year Is It? You can ask as many questions as you please. Actually, we'll limit you to 15. We'll limit you to 15. But basically, you have to know. You can ask any question about anything. You can ask me, who led in scoring. Did this team go to the playoffs? How far did this team go? But I'm capping you at. I'm not telling you Stanley Cup Finals though. I'll give it away.
I was gonna say like who won the Stanley Cup that year?
Yeah, because if you do that, then that's gonna give it away. But yeah, so you can ask up to 15 questions because it's supposed to be a little bit harder.
Can I ask who was first in the NHL that year?
Yes.
Okay. All right. We'll start with that. Who was first in the NHL that year?
Gotta get these standings up. First in the NHL that year was the Detroit Red Wings.
Can I also ask the question of like
Oh, sorry, I forgot to tell you. Once you get a team being said, you can't ask any more about them.
can I ask is it further back than 1990 or anything like that?
No, it's before it's anything. It's in this millennium. So the first I can go back is 2000.
Okay, all right. That definitely helps me a lot because that's 100 years. I can't do that.
Tell you a team's stat or a player who's played on that team. You can't refer to them. You can't ask about them for the rest of it. That's where there's 15 questions.
Okay. Who led the league in scoring that year?
Points wise?
Yes.
Alex Ovechkin.
Okay. Let's think of another good question here. Who? So, the Red Wings were a Western team then, right? They were in the West. No,
I can't tell you that.
Right, you can't tell me that. Whoops, my bad. Who? Did the Flyers make the playoffs? Let's go with that. Let's see if my favorite team made the playoffs.
Philadelphia did make the playoffs.
Okay. Let me think of teams that were in the NHL back then. Did the Atlanta Thrashers make the playoffs? Actually, probably not. Because they only made the playoffs 1 year. Then it's pretty obvious.
No, they didn't.
No, they did not. So I didn't think they would, but nice question. Can you tell me how many teams were in the NHL?
I can't.
Okay, all right, that's fair enough. Yeah, that's actually fine. I don't know. Who was? I'm assuming that. I don't know if I can ask you this. I'm assuming that Ovechkin led in goals too.
Can't tell you that. You already guessed anything about Washington. I can't tell you.
That's right. Whoops.
You can ask me other questions.
Did Toronto make the playoffs?
No.
Okay. No idea. Trying to think of good questions to ask here. I know I'm stalling a little bit.
You can ask about playoffs. You can ask about how far a certain team went.
How far did the Flyers go in the playoffs that year?
I can't tell you that.
Oh, that's right. You can't tell me the Flyers. How far did I'm really bad at these rules, aren't I? How far did the Rangers go if they made the playoffs?
The Rangers lost in the second round.
Okay.
In 5 games. I'll give you the games since you can't ask about them again.
This is really interesting. Did the Coyotes make the playoffs that year?
No.
Okay. How many more questions do I have, or can I just guess?
You have 7. You currently have 7 guesses right now. You have 8 questions left.
Can I just like spitball random years?
If you guess a year, you can't just like go off naming like random years until you get the right one. I'm not gonna do that.
I know.
But yes, you can guess a year right now if you like. Count as a guess though.
So I'm thinking that collecting the data that I have. Detroit being first in the NHL, that was around where they won the Stanley Cup. Ovechkin leading the NHL, probably around the same time. Philadelphia made the playoffs. Phoenix missed. They probably were Phoenix. Because Atlanta was around. Atlanta missed. Rangers made playoffs. I don't know. I'm gonna guess here. Take a wild guess. I'm gonna go.
Right.
I'm gonna go the year after I was born, 07, 08.
Nordic,
What?
you got it right.
No way! Oh my god! Seriously?
Yeah, 07, 08.
Holy crap!
And I really thought you were going to ask me about Pittsburgh, which I thought was really going to sink me in. But Philadelphia went to the conference finals that year.
Oh my god. Oh, man. Wow.
Yeah, what'd you think of that one?
I'm blown away. That's a good game, but I'm blown away at that. Oh my lord, oh Jesus.
I thought you kind of had it, and then when you said Detroit's first, I think that's the last time Detroit was first in the NHL.
Yeah, it probably was. I don't know. I was like, But yeah, that's a pretty good game. I'll give it to you, LeBlanc. That was a good game.
And I think that's where we're going to leave it off for this episode.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm very satisfied with myself. I went 2 for 2 overall.
Unless you want to go again.
No, I ain't going again. I'm on good fortune. I don't want to go again. No, thank you. But yeah, that will conclude episode number 9 of the Nord and Black podcast. We'd like to thank you all very much for watching or listening. If you enjoyed, make sure to like and subscribe down below. It'd be greatly appreciated. If you're listening, tell your friends, give us a good review, and all that good stuff. If you'd like to follow the Nord and Block podcast on Instagram, you can follow at NordBlockPod. We do have an announcement coming in episode 10. We are making a TikTok account, so we will get to that in the next episode. But regardless, that'll do it for this one. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.
Ciao.